It's pretty even, simply at the moment. Now, they may get a lead and may get way ahead, and England would have to bat last, but at the moment, with the toss, you would say Pakistan will have to bat last, and it will turn this pitch more and more. I saw a few dusts there for Jack Leach towards the end. There were 3 or 4 in 2 overs that really dusted. So England needed those 2 wickets desperately. They needed the Jamie Smith-Gus Atkinson partnership desperately. So it's like an arm wrestle. We often say that Test match cricket. First session, Pakistan went there, and England got back, and then slowly it's gone one way and then the other. And that's the great thing about this format. After one day, an eventful day, it is still, you know, in the balance.
The unknown of all this is the pitch still, isn't it?
Yeah, and everyone talked about the spin. Was it going to spin? Is it going to spin? What we didn't talk about was the bounce and the lack of bounce. It spun a bit, definitely, and it will spin more for the reasons I gave. It's quite dusty at the ends and it is crumbly. But actually what's done for most batters today is the lack of bounce. And that's all I would say about England. I looked, and I sat next to you upstairs, and I looked at the scorecard and it said 120 for 6. And was it a 120 for 6 pitch? I don't think it was, and England found themselves 120 for 6 because I don't think they adapted from Multan, which spun big, second test, to here, which spun a bit but kept low. So when it spins big, you have to go square of the wicket, sweeps, you know, just play with a square bat shot. When it's low bounce, those square bat shots become dangerous, and you have to play with a straight bat. And that's what Smith and Atkinson did very well.
Talking about Atkinson, he did pick up a wicket today. We didn't expect to see much seam, perhaps not much success for seamers, but he picked up one of the 3 wickets that fell up to stumps for Pakistan. They're 3 down. The first, though, went to Shoaib Bashir. Plum.
Yeah, a batter getting trapped on the crease. Abdullah thought about going forward. He wishes now he had gone forward, and he was just trapped on the crease. And he didn't keep that low. He got done. Got done on length a little bit. I love these 2 wickets as an ex-captain. Just something happened at Drinks, whether it was Jeetan Patel said go round the wicket, 2 men on the drive, and then the next wicket, literally the leg next over, 12 wickets have gone to spin, and Ben Stokes thinks, do you know what, this lad Cameron, we saw in the last game, he struggles a bit against seam, I'm going to go with seam there. And they're the things that I still get pretty excited about. When a captain makes those 2 decisions, whether it be on-field, off-field input, go round the wicket, 2 men on the drive, first ball after Drinks, clips it, then goes to Atkinson when not a single wicket has fallen to seam, and Atkinson gets the wicket. Good planning from England.
Gave Rehan a go just at the end. Was that the right thing to do, or could he have got him into the game a little earlier?
No, because runs are going to be at a premium, so you do have to, you know, it's not a case of, oh, we'll give someone a go and have a look at them. This is a deciding Test match. It could be a low-scoring Test match, and for that reason, at every stage in the Test match, you have to pick your best bowlers for that particular moment. You can't be like, oh, Rehan Ahmed hasn't played a while, I'll get him into the game. Can't go for 20 in 3 overs and then you're chasing the game again. So he did the right thing, give him 1 over tonight, came out fine. You know, that little drag down that he bowled kept low, and that could be second time tomorrow, later in the game. You're going to need Rehan Ahmed, possibly, but at the moment, it looks like a low-scoring game where every partnership and every run is going to be valuable, and so you have to have attention to detail as a captain.
Compare and contrast the captaincy styles. Is Shan a bit more placid? He's allowing the game just to play out. He didn't make bowling changes. No, these are my guys. I'm going to keep with them. Whereas Stokes, there's always some adjustment. It's a field change, it's an angle change, it's a bowling change.
Yeah, to be fair to Shan, he didn't have to change anything.
Sure.
120 for 6. It's 2 spin bowlers who bowled England out in the last Test match are bowling beautifully here. I'd say the difference between the captaincies and the captains on this game is that Shan doesn't quite trust his 3rd spinner or some of his other bowlers. He trusts those 2 up front, so he's not willing to go to Mahmood, the spinner, the leg spinner, whereas you can bet with Ben Stokes, he trusts that line-up throughout, and the given time he will go to them, but he definitely trusts them. He sees it as a fine 5-man attack, including Root, including himself. He hasn't bowled yet. He'll just choose a time to bowl that certain bowler.
Is that one of his great strengths as captaincy, then, that man management? You know, we heard you did a lovely interview with Jack Leach when he said, you know, after Shoaib Bashir took the 5 wickets at Trent Bridge, first person to ring me, he was Ben Stokes saying, listen, you're still in our plans. Yeah,
but he doesn't let that get in the way of his decision-making. Yeah. He can be brutal as well. This is a deciding Test match. This could be an absolute cracking Test match. Second time round, it could be spinning square. Pakistan might need 180 to win. And if you've gifted them 20, 30 runs by just being a bit emotional and getting someone in the game. You could be 220 and then the game's gone away from you. So I quite enjoy test matches like this that could be low scoring, where everything, every session matters, every decision you make matters. I think the pitch, I thought the Multan pitch was fair enough playing on a used pitch. I don't mind a spinning pitch. I do mind a pitch that keeps low. On a test match pitch, you shouldn't get in the first session the ball that Ben Duckett got. Should not be getting that sort of delivery.
Know all about
I don't think that was the first. I don't think Carl Hooper was the first session, first day. But
does that make it a bad pitch then?
I think this makes it a poorer pitch than Multan second test, because as I say, spinning pitch fine because you can show your skill. A low pitch that Duckett, the ball that Duckett got, that would concern me. But having said that, England shouldn't have been 120 for 6. That's not an excuse for that. And having said that, the way Smith and Atkinson played after lunch, between lunch and tea, put the pitch into perspective that you can bat on here, and what, they're 70 for 3. So it is no minefield. I just don't like first morning of a test match, first day, a ball keeping that low.
Jamie Smith, some test career so far.
Awesome talent. And if anything, that innings epitomised what Kean McCullum is talking about. When you need to soak up pressure, comes in at 90 for 6, he soaks it up. He grinds out, gets in, gets used to the low bounce. And when you need to put bowlers under pressure when they're tiring, you go after them. And that is exactly what he did. A lot of people will talk about the tempo of England. They should go harder. They should not go as hard. Actually, what he did well was get the mode and the method right. A lot of these shots will be straight bat shots until he gets in. And once he gets in, then he'll go cross bat or he'll slog sweep on line. But the first bit of this innings, which set him up to get in, was all with straight bat shots. And as he got used to the low bounce, that's when he started to put his foot down.
We're hoping to speak to him in due course. He's just got other media duties at the minute with the host broadcast. I'd love to know when he decided to flick that switch. Was it a matchup that he saw? Or was it just he felt that, right, I'm feeling comfortable with conditions, now I can go? Because I think I said on commentary, this guy can catch up. He can be as patient as he wants, and then all of a sudden, bang, and we're into top gear.
Two things. One, what you say, getting used to conditions. There's no shot area in cricket. You can play all the shots. Like I said to you about the interview you did with Rahul Dravid about hitting against the spin. Everyone in England's taught don't hit against the spin. Nonsense, you can hit against the spin. A, you have to be able to do it with your hands. B, get in and then play it. There's no you can't sweep. Get used to it, get used to the bounce, and then you can sweep outside the line. His shot is the pull shot, right? First hour and a half, he didn't play that shot, but once he got used to the low bounce and he got a bit lower, he got that shot away. So the more you bat, the more aggressive you can be. But also he realised that Shah Massoud didn't trust Mahmood, the leg spinner, so he waited for him to come on. The other two spinners are tired. The moment he tossed it up, both him and Atkinson just belted him straight down the ground in the V, or slog swept him for 4 and 6. And then Shan has got a leg spinner that's going round the park and two spinners that bowled all the first session and are tiring. And in fact, Pakistan did well to come back at the end between lunch and tea.
Atkinson followed Smith's lead by playing straight, and it all happened after the break. Do you think that's a conversation that would have taken place in the dressing room? Like, hey lads, as you're saying, that is probably not the way to go. We've got to go a bit straighter.
Or you would just hope that when you're sitting there waiting to bat, you're looking at the last game where you should sweep, and you're looking at this game, do you know what, that ball Duckett got? If Ben Duckett's struggling to sweep the ball, and he did, you turned to me on comms and said, is Ben Duckett sweeping less here? So he's flicked a switch that this one, even at Ben Duckett's height and someone who gets low, that it can get under the bat than the taller lads. And it's also a shot they don't really play a lot, both Jamie Smith and Gus Atkinson, because they're quite tall, they hit in the V, they pull well, they're not massive little fine sweepers. So it's not a shot they play a lot. They just got the method right for this particular surface, this odd surface that's quite low in bounce.
Jamie Smith can join us. Congratulations, extremely well played. How would you sum up the day in the position of the game?
Yeah, it was a good day in the end. I think we didn't really quite know coming into actually what the wicket would do.
No.
I was speaking to Azza a little bit on the days leading up to it, and he didn't know either. So I think everyone was a bit clueless of, actually how much it would spin and from what point. So you saw it last week, it was sort of day 1.5, and then it really started to go. But we felt it was a bit more consistent here. So yeah, any first innings runs on the board were pretty vital.
Did you expect it to stay so low? I'm thinking of the Ben Duckett wicket.
Yeah, not at all. I can only see it getting lower as well as the game
Right.
goes on. So yeah, these first innings, whichever way it is, if you can get yourself into a decent enough lead, that will be crucial.
When you're watching on and some of the wickets are tumbling like they were before you came in, is that when you're formulating your game plan? I'm sure you'll have a game plan coming into the game, but once you see it unfold, like the Ben Duckett wicket, are you saying, right, I've got to go straighter here?
Yeah, I think it was obviously adapting before the game of, what happened in the game previous, and then taking that into this game, seeing how some of the guys were successful. We got off to a great start again, almost seeing what worked well for them and what didn't, and it changed a little bit actually from what was last week where it was all sweeps, and this week actually felt easier to go down the ground and harder to sweep. And if Ducky's saying it's hard to sweep, then it definitely is.
We seem to sweep less today, actually.
Well, he said it was hard, a really tough shot to play. And yeah, I think if he's giving you that sort of feedback, then it's definitely for me, who's nowhere on that level. I'm putting it away as much as possible.
It seemed like you hit a tipping point, when you went, right, I can go now. Was that the case? And if it was, what was the instigating factor in that?
It wasn't actually spoken about. It was more just a flow of the game sort of thing of, we felt like they were getting a little bit tired at times. They'd bowled continuously from one end. It's almost how can we, either flip them to another end that made it easier or get a new bowler on. And it really helped with Gus actually at the other end, because he almost seemed to flick that switch before me that allowed me to take a few more singles, and the runs sort of and the momentum sort of built from there. I felt they actually changed their plans a little bit and went slightly wider to me, the off spinner, and I just thought that's a good time for me now that it could put them under a lot of pressure now.
So that changed from them, because the sweep's a hard shot, obviously, when it's straight and it's LBW and bowled. But once he starts going out there, it becomes a bit more of a free shot and you can slog sweep?
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like they bowled really nicely at the start with that attacking line that, saw a few people going back and getting trapped LBW, which, was not the case, in the last game. But as soon as they started going wider, it sort of brought their modes of dismissals down, especially with the low bounce. You didn't really feel that, the top edge to 45 was on and things like that. So, yeah, their change probably helped us a little bit.
Needed those 3 wickets up to the stumps, though.
Absolutely, there's enough in that wicket, and for us to take them wickets. We just got to keep building the pressure and allowing them to make the mistakes, and hoping that, as the game goes on, it deteriorates further.
Can I ask about the change just after drinks? Who brought about that change? You may have been having a drink yourself. Jack Leach suddenly decided to go round the wicket, 2 men on the drive. First wicket, chips it to short mid-wicket. Where did that come from?
And that's all Stokesy. I can't give any credit to myself for that. But yeah, that's the great thing about him as a captain. He's always thinking of different things. You saw Gus come on, for 1 over, get the crucial wicket, and then he's almost back to the plan we were doing before. So that sort of stuff, thinking on your feet, is crucial right here.
In your opinion, is this game going to be won on small margins?
Absolutely. When you're not having a massive first innings score of 400, there's always going to be, any lead that you can get might count as double. Especially, I think with the low bounce, especially as the game goes on, that's going to become even harder to score. So yeah, it'll be a pretty important first part tomorrow.
Frustrated that you missed out on the 100, or pleased that you contributed and getting the team back on track?
I think it's pleased again. I stuck to my guns last game with trying to, be really positive, and probably didn't quite come off in the way that I would have liked to. So to come out here and, put that sort of performance in and allow us to press on to a pretty decent score actually on this wicket, yeah, very pleased.
How are you coping physically and mentally? You mentioned after the West Indies series, you just feel you needed a little break. It's even tougher here. Keeping on there when it's rolling along the ground is going to be seriously tough. How are you coping with it all?
Yeah, not too bad actually. I was thankful for the extra days off that we've had with some of the early finishes, and obviously we had a good day of training the other day actually, just to reset things with the 6-sitting competition. It felt like it was a nice reset of taking a lot of pressure off. Obviously, when you come off the back of a defeat, you can start thinking about all the things that have gone wrong. But I feel there's a lot of stuff that's gone right on this tour as well, and that was a message that was definitely sent to everyone, coming in yesterday and then today.
How'd you go in the 6-sitting competition?
Well, I think I was favourite somehow. I wasn't backing myself as favourite, and yeah, Rayan absolutely smoked everyone. So I was pretty disappointed.
Appreciate your time. Well played. Thank you very much,
well
Jamie.
played
Thanks very
indeed.
much indeed. One person we should concentrate on, we'll talk about before we go, Sajid Khan. Remarkable. the way he's just managing to take these. I know he's got helpful pitches,
Yeah.
but the character and the effervescence that he brings to the game is lovely to watch, actually.
It is, and I'm just going to interrupt you and say that I don't think it's because of the pitches. Sometimes you look at bowlers and go, oh, he's now come in on spinning pitches or pitches that are rolling along the ground. I think actually he gets a lot of action on the ball. When you see him bowl it, he actually gets a lot of revs on the ball. You love his character. He's got a fast bowler's mentality. He's aggressive, and I think that responds in the way he bowls. He's got an aggressive action, an aggressive mindset as well. I think he's been a real positive, and it shows the depth in domestic cricket in Pakistan as well. He's bowled really, really well, not just because the pitches have spun since he's come in. He's actually made them spin.
Could be in for a nerve-tingling time over the next
easy
couple of
for you to
days.
say.
Easy. I didn't quite get that out as smoothly I was hoping.
No, I think it's going to be a cracking 3 days. I think the pitch may well just turn and roll along the ground and go. It could do, who knows? You'd never know in Pakistan. And so it could be a low-scoring thriller to decide this series.
Right, Pakistan 3 down, trailing by 194 then at stumps on day 1 of this deciding test.